Okay, another type of equation that we're going to talk about are percent concentrations. So what a percent concentration is either a volume or a mass in a percentage. So here's the equation. Percent by volume is equal to the volume of a solute divided by the volume of a solution times 100. That's where we get the percent. And the only thing you need to worry about on this equation is that you have the same unit of volume. So again, it doesn't matter if you're in milliliters or in liters, it just has to be the same unit so that your units cancel. So here's your question. What is the percent by volume, so there's your unknown, of a solution made by dissolving 343 milliliters of methanol in enough water to make 600 milliliters of solution? So we know that we're supposed to find percent by volume. So that's this. This is our unknown. And then it says that we have 343 milliliters of methanol and 600 milliliters of solution. You need to be really careful to make sure that you get the right number in the right location. So when it says we're dissolving 343 milliliters of methanol, dissolving means that this is the solute. So we can safely assume that the methanol is going to be our solute. And then it says the word solution, so we feel really confident that that is our volume of our solution, 600 milliliters. Okay, before we go ahead and solve, make sure that we have the same units. If not, you need to convert one or the other. But on this one, we actually do have the same. They're both in milliliters, so we can cancel that out. And now all we have to do is plug it in. So 343 divided by 600 and then times by 100 is going to equal 57.17%. That would be the percent solution. So that would be the percentage of our methanol compared to the entire amount of solution. So a lot of times you'll see this when you go to the store. If you ever go and buy like hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol, they'll say this is 70% or 3%. They also do this in the hospital when they have like different IV bags. It'll have a certain percentage. So it's important because then you know how much solute you have in your whole solution. And of course, the higher the percentage, the more solute you have. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, it says describe how to make 825 milliliters of ethanol, which is about a 47% by volume solution of ethanol in water. Okay, so let's break this down. The 47% by volume, that is our percent by volume in our equation. Okay, and it says 825 milliliters of ethanol, and then it tells us in parentheses that that's a solution of ethanol in water. So we can assume that this is our volume solution. Okay, so one thing you can do here is that you can rearrange the equation because the missing variable is going to be our volume of solute. So if you rearrange the equation, you get volume of solution times percent by volume divided by 100. Let's go and plug it in as well. Plug it into the equation. So if we do our normal equation, okay, our percent by volume is 47% equals our volume of solute all over our volume of solution, which is 825 times 100. So instead of rearranging it like we did down here, you can just plug it into what you have and solve for there. Do whatever works best for you. Okay, from here we're going to solve. So the first thing is we want to get rid of this 100. Get rid of that 100. When we get rid of the 100, we end up getting 0.47 when we take 47 divided by 100. That's going to equal the volume of our solute all over 825 milliliters. Now that looks a little more manageable. So now we just need to get our volume of solute by itself. And we're going to do this by multiplying the 825 milliliters to both sides of the equation. That cancels that out. So then what we get is 825 times 0.47, which is going to equal 387.75 milliliters of ethanol, because remember it's an ethanol in water solution. So ethanol is our solute. And then if we made this, what we would do is we'd measure out that much ethanol, and then we'd add enough water to make 825 milliliters of solution. Or we could be really specific and say, well, let's figure out how much water that is. Our solution is 825 total, and we know our ethanol is 387.75 milliliters. We can subtract, and when we subtract that, we get 437.25 milliliters of water. So you can be more specific if you want to. So all we're doing is taking the solute part and the water part when we're making a solution and we're putting it together. You can assume it's water in a solution unless they tell you differently. And another way to figure out what's what, like as far as volume of solute or volume of solution, usually your solution is larger, which makes sense. Just kidding. Your solution's always larger in these examples. So your volume of solution should always be the bigger number in these examples. Okay, another type of percent solution is percent by mass. So instead of having a volume, we're going to do mass, but the equation is exactly the same except for the word mass. So percent by mass equals the mass of the solute divided by the mass of the solution times 100. So here's the next question. What is the percent by mass? I'll go ahead and put my little question mark. Of a solution of 45 grams of NaCl dissolved in 500 grams or 512 milliliters of water. If you ever see a problem like this with mass, where they're giving you milliliters, but it needs to be in a mass, with water, remember the density of water is always 1 gram per milliliter. So all you have to do is change your unit here. So if you ever get that, just change it to milliliters. Change it from milliliters to grams. Okay, so in this one, let's go ahead and start plugging in our numbers. We've got 45 grams dissolved in 512 grams of water. So we know that the 45 grams, because the salt is the solute. And then we would assume, okay, this is where you have to be really careful, that the 512 grams would be the solution. But notice how this is worded. This is very important because I guarantee you're going to have one of these on your test, okay? It says 45 grams of NaCl dissolved in 512 grams of water. This is giving us the solute and the solvent separately, which means we have to add these two to get the solution. So 512 plus 45 is going to give us 557 grams. That's our mass of our solution. So be really careful with how these are worded. If it doesn't say solution, or if it's very specific about the solute and the solvent separate, you need to add them when you do the mass of your solution. Because remember, solution is a solute and a solvent together. Okay, now check your units. Are they the same? Yep, they are. They're both grams. So you take 45, divide it by 557 times 100, and we get an 8.08% salt solution, which means that out of 100%, only 8% of it is our solute. Okay, just read those questions carefully. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day. And we'll talk to you later.